Well, I just think it's cool because like it'd be cool if like I don't know if I had him or a G. I mean, a G knows how to program in different languages, but whenever I suggest the idea of him like sitting next to me and we all like program something, he doesn't like it because I guess he does that as his job kind of. But I just think it'd be cool to like
Work on something.
yeah, work on some software as a group with people you already know. Um, and see what you could
Yeah,
accomplish. Oh, I'll handle this. I'll handle this aspect, and then oh, I'll handle the authentication and something like that, and see like how much faster it would be to get something running.
Mm.
so you have to kind of prove to people that it's fun to do it, and find people who think it's fun. That's the whole concept of a movement, isn't it?
Hmm.
That if you're building a movement, you start with a few people and they're really excited. So the first few people have to be really excited, and the others, the
Yeah.
rest of us sitting around
Well,
are going to think,
Well,
oh my goodness, we're missing out on all the fun.
I would say the excitement probably gets you into it, but I'm realizing you need a lot more patience, if anything.
yeah. See, that's the
Because
part
that's
that I
the hard
didn't
part.
put in the sales pitch. Because
Especially,
yeah, there's like parts where like there was a part specifically near to the end of what I was teaching him where we couldn't figure out why this thing wasn't working. And again, the feeling I can describe it as is like bashing your head against the desk, like just going from like
Hmm.
idea to idea, trying to figure out what the solution could be. But then I will say, once you do solve it, if you solve it, um,
I don't think we
then
really solved it, but
yeah, we did. Remember, so basically, there's this
mm,
library, right? It's called Bootstrap, and it basically is a library of already made, like how would you say, user interface like buttons. Like so when you want to put a button into your application, there's a lot of design that goes into the button. What color do I want it? What do I want the outline to look like? Do I want it to look
Hmm.
like 3D or something? So all that stuff this library handles. So all you have to do is say, okay, I want that one.
rather
But
than
we
creating it from scratch.
exactly. But we couldn't. The library wasn't loading properly.
And we think it was because it was Bootstrap 2 instead of 1,
Yeah, so
or 1
So
instead of
it's
2.
now all
so
loaded.
yeah, so the problem actually was we had integrated the library correctly. It was we were not using the correct commands to like pull up a button. We were using actually an old version. We were using a
Mm.
command from an older version of the
Hmm.
library, but I thought, oh, it's not working because we're not importing the library correctly, but which we already had done correctly,
Oh, okay.
Mm.
So you can,
semi correctly.
but I was just wondering also about when Salmikala likes to do her painting, she needs the distance from people.
Hmm.
And what you're doing is a real team effort. And there was this art concept called karkhana, which means factory. And it's an interesting concept about art being done by a group of people. And this was from the Mughals, that they would do this, that one person would get specialized in one part of the painting and the other. And these were miniatures. Another person would get specialized in another area. And so this whole creative concept would be through in a group as opposed to an individual.
Mm.
And I know you spend hours and hours and hours sitting by yourself doing this coding and really getting into it.
Hmm.
And now you're building a group around it, which is
Well, haven't really
interesting.
Trying
built a
to.
group
And I
yet.
feel
Trying
as
to.
my writing part is, I am so inundated with ideas at the moment, um, because of the people around me. And I wonder about the group writing concept and how I know video making is a group creative endeavor.
Hmm.
I didn't realize that coding could potentially be a group endeavor.
Yeah.
And that's not a question, that's a comment. It's
Yeah.
just
No, coding could definitely be a group endeavor.
I think you can do both for pretty much
I
any
mean,
category,
technically
right?
that's
Like,
a good idea. Or I mean, it's like
hmm
you're gonna get it done faster, most
What's
likely.
the benefit? Oh, yeah, go ahead. What are the benefits of
Yeah,
you wanting? Why are you? What is your ulterior motive, Nabil? Because you always have an ulterior motive.
well, mine would
Or
be
is it
cool.
just for Daniel to appreciate the concept of
Yeah, well,
coding?
I will say we're getting closer to being able to have this sort of one-man team that where one person can make and run an application used by a lot of users. but we're still not there. So I mean, that's why you have companies of software engineers, because one person, each kind of section of a application can go so deep that like if you're only one person, almost, if you want to get something done, you have to like kind of stop at a certain point and just move on to the next part of the application. Whereas if you had groups, you could be like, okay, here's like three major areas. For example, like authentication is always it's a that's usually an aspect of any application. You want to identify who your user is, and then the second part of that is called authorization, and now you want to authorize what part of the application they can use. So that whole thing is just, it's a huge area of, you can become an expert in just that. So if you had multiple people working on one thing, you could say, hey, Bob, do you want to handle the authentication? I'll handle the like database management. Daniel, you can handle the user interface or something like that. So just by having multiple people, you can divide it up and just accomplish more.
And there was
You
a